Welcome back to Summit, everybody. My name is Mark. We're taking a look at the fourth Sunday in Ordinary Time. What does God want? What does God want? Oftentimes we talk about what we want from God, what we want in life, what we want for our future. But the key in the Catholic life and the Christian life is to say, not what do I want, but what does God want? What does God want from me? What does God want for me? And this week's readings really kind of dive into this, and we see that, it's not all that complicated, to be really, really honest. This first reading from Zephaniah, if you'd only tell me, God, what you want, what's the first thing we hear? Seek the Lord, all you humble of the earth. Seek the Lord. We don't hear from Zephaniah very often. It's not a very long book. It's a short prophetic book. But here it is, just right out of the gate, so much wisdom. Seek justice. Seek humility. Seek justice. Seek humility. What does God want? He wants us to be humble. He wants us to realize that there's a God and it ain't us. He wants us to seek Him instead of our own wealth, our own popularity, our own fame, our own fortune. He wants us to seek Him and to seek God. But God first, we have to put ourselves second, or even more importantly, last, right? Humility. That whole, to be humble is not to think less of yourself, but to think of yourself less. Yes, it absolutely is. To think of yourself last. To think of God first, others next, and ourselves last. So when we say, what does God want? It's right here, right out of the first reading. Second reading, St. Paul's talking to people in Corinth. Corinth was there in Greece, big city, big thinkers, big philosophy, very important people, false gods everywhere, temples everywhere. And Paul stands up and says, hey, you know what? Wisdom isn't about being the smartest guy or girl around. Wisdom is realizing that we're all fools, okay? That God chose the foolish of the world to shame the wise. St. Paul's trying to get across to them is, listen, you don't have to have every answer to every question. All you have to know is the answer, who is God, and realize that He will ultimately answer every question. So that people might call you foolish. Oh, you're not a very big thinker. You're not very smart. You believe in this person up in the sky who's going to grant your wishes. No, I believe in a creator who created me, who came to die and save me, and who lives still today, and who I want to live for Him. God chose the foolish of the world, the foolish who believe in God, to shame the wise, the learned, the greatest atheist minds the money can buy. This is what St. Paul's trying to get across to these people who were surrounded by all these great thinkers in this really, really important revolutionary society at the time. To say, listen, you might not be the most educated, you might not be this great philosopher. Be humble. That's what God's asking you to be, is be humble. And then this week's gospel, we're going to hear the famous Beatitudes. You've probably heard the Beatitudes 50 times in your life, 100 times in your life from Matthew. But if you listen to the first line in Matthew, it says Jesus goes up the mountain before He starts telling us, blessed are the poor in spirit, blessed are the peacemakers. Why does He go up a mountain? A lot of different biblical theologians have pondered this and said, well, maybe this, maybe this. Well, one, because when you're on a mountain, you're on a higher plane, you can speak and preach, and just acoustically, you can hear better, right? When He's preaching to the crowds who are sitting below. But you know what a mountain does when you climb a mountain? It offers you perspective. It allows you to see things from God's perspective, to see things from a higher plane, a higher perspective, to see through the situation, to see things differently on a physical, very literal level. And that's what He was asking us to do. Jesus is asking us to do in the Beatitudes. I want you to think bigger, think higher, view things differently. Blessed are the poor in spirit. Blessed means happy, fortunate. Well, why would I be happy or fortunate to be the poor in spirit, the peacemakers? Blessed am I when people revile me and persecute me for your name? How is that a good thing? And Jesus is saying, because what it shows is that you understand something that they don't. What it shows is that you know me and they don't. And you should be happy, you're fortunate, you're blessed to know me, to be in a relationship with me. You see, that's what humility really is and entails. It's saying, I'm not going to be diverted by what the world says I should think, like St. Paul's talking about. I'm not going to be diverted by what other people say about me because of my faith, which is what Jesus is talking about. Then I'm going to seek justice, sure, but I'm going to seek humility. I'm going to seek the Lord. That's what I'm going to wake up doing every day. What does God want? He wants you. He wants your heart. He wants you to seek Him each and every day and realize that He is there waiting for you, that He's there walking beside you, and that He's created something that most minds cannot even conceive of, which we call heaven. God bless you this week.